Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kupidana Vallabha Girivaradati Kupidana Vallabha Girivaradati Yashodanandana Pradadhanadandana Yashodanandana Pradadhanadandana Yamunatiravanachati Yamunatiravanachati Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopidana Vallabha Girivaradati Gopidana Vallabha Girivaradati Yashodanandana Pradajanaranjana Yashodanandana Pradajanaranjana Yamunatiravanachati Yamunatiravanachati Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Astuttara Sadasri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Shyama Kund Radha Kund Kiri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai Ganga Mai ki jai, Yamuna Mai ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Grantaraj, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 17, the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya in his youth. Now, 260 is on the board, but I just read 258 and 259 and we chant this together. Tatapi dhambika paduya namra nahihaya yahantahan prabhura nindahasi sekaraya. But the proud student community did not become submissive. On the contrary, the students spoke of the incident anywhere and everywhere. In a laughing manner, they criticized the Lord. Sarvakya kusani jani sabara durgati karivasi chinte tasapara avyahati. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being omniscient, could understand the degradation of these students. Thus, he sat at home contemplating how to rescue them. And the verse on the board. Yata Adhyapaka Ara Tanra Shishyagana Dharmi Karmi Tapahanishta Anindaka Durjana Yata Adhyapaka Aratanya Shishyagana Dharmi Karmi Tapunishta Nindaka Durjana Yata adhyapaka arathanva sishyagana dharmi karmi tapunishta nindaka dhurjana Yata adhyapaka arathanva sishyagana dharmi karmi tapunishta nindaka dhurjana Yata adhyapaka arathanva sishyagana Karmi karmi tapunishta nindakatu jana Yata adhyapaka arathanva sishyagana Karmi karmi tapunishta nindakatu jana Yata adhyapaka arathanva sishyagana Dharmi karmi tapunishta nindakatu jana Yata adhyapaka arathanva sishyagana Dharmi karmi tapunishta nindakatu jana Yata adhyapaka arathanva sishyagana Dharmi karmi tapunishta nindakatu jana Yata all adhyapaka professors Ara and Tanra there Shishyagana students Dharmi followers of ritualistic ceremonies Karmi performers of fruitive activities Tapanishta performers of austerities Nindaka blasphemers Durjana rogues Translation all the so-called professors this is the Lord he is thinking like this all the so-called professors and scientists and their students generally follow the regulative principles of religion fruitive activities and austerities, the Lord thought. Yet, at the same time, they are blasphemers and rogues. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Here is a depiction of materialists who have no knowledge of devotional service. They may be very religious and may work very systematically or perform austerities and penances. But if they blaspheme the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are nothing but rogues. This is confirmed in the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya 3.11. Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya Jati Shastram Japastapaha Apranasya Dehasya Mandanam Loka Ranjanam. If they are without knowledge of devotional service to their Lord, then great nationalism, fruitive political or social work, science or philosophy are simply like costly garments decorating a dead body. The only offense of persons adhering to these principles is that they are not devotees. They are always blasphemous toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His devotees. End of purport. Yata adhyapaka aratanya shishagana dharmi karmi taponishta nindaka dvajana. All the so-called professors and scientists and their students generally follow the regulative principles of religion, fruitive activities, and austerities, the Lord thought. Yet, at the same time, they are blasphemers and rogues. So, this was the context is that Nimai Pandit, as he was known then, who was having his own Sanskrit school, he was I think this was after he came back from Gaya, after taking initiation from Ishvarapuri. So he entered into a bhava of separation and actually a mood of anger towards Krishna. And he was in the mood of Srimati Radharani, which was his confidential mood. And he was chanting Gopi, 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 Gopi. And some of his students, they were criticizing him that he, why are you chanting the name of the gopis? You should chant the name of Krishna. And then in a, to them, a highly surprising reaction, he became very angry. What is this, Krishna? Don't mention that name. And he started chasing them with a stick. And they became highly alarmed. What is this? He's gone crazy. We have to do something. They actually, as it has been described in the previous verses, that we have to do something to correct him. He says, they say, Nimai Pandit alone has spoiled the entire country, they accused. He wants to strike a caste brahmana. He has no fear of religious principles. If he again performs such an atrocious act, certainly we shall retaliate and strike him in turn. What kind of important person is he that he can check us in this way? When all the students thus resolved, criticizing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their intelligence was spoiled. Thus, although they were learned scholars, because of this offense, the essence of knowledge was not manifested in them, as described. And then the verses that we read today. So, this is, of course, Lord Chaitanya, one can say that he was in a dilemma, because although he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he made every effort to hide this. He is the Jana avatar. The one problem with that was that people not understanding this, actually, partly because of Lord Chaitanya's own activities, they might become overly familiar. And what happened to his students. So how to deal with this? Lord Chaitanya, he was thinking, how shall I handle this? It's not good for them if they disrespect me. Even though I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I don't want to make this known to the public. Srila Prabhupada explains that the reason was that he foresaw that in this age of Kali Yuga there will be so many bogus incarnations of Krishna. So if he would make it known, let people know that he is actually Krishna, then this would give further impetus to such cheaters. Therefore, he would make every effort to cover his real identity. But how to avoid that people, they would become overly familiar. Familiarity breeds contempt. So what was the solution? He decided to take sannyas. In this way, even though people didn't understand that Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya, Lord Chaitanya is non-different from Radha Krishna, but at least they understood he's a sannyasi. So then they would at least give him that respect, and that would be good for them. So that's the conclusion that he's coming to now, and in this way his pastimes of youth, they will come to an end, and we will enter the Madhya Lila, the middle pastimes of the Lord, which are considered the most important pastimes, actually. Why are they most important? Because during this time, the Madhya Lila is the period from his taking sannyas and his travels throughout India. Partly he was staying in Jagannath Puri also, but a lot of the time during these, I think, 9 years, from his 24th till his, had to be 30 something years of age, he was traveling, and that was he did his main preaching work in these years, his main teachings of his leading disciples, the Goswamis, notably Sanatana and Rupa Goswami. And so many things happened in that period. So we are coming to that period now. By the way, I wanted to dwell on this fact that Lord Chaitanya is non-different from Krishna. He's actually not even an avatar. He is Swayam Bhagavan, Krishna Das Kaviraj, he has made this point here in the Adi Leela very emphatically. He makes this by using logic, the basic procedure of logical argument is expressed in a simple way: A equals B, and B equals C, so therefore A equals C. He wants to prove that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Swayam Bhagavan. So he does this in two steps. First, he proves that Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he proves that Lord Chaitanya is non-different from Krishna. So if Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, then means Lord Chaitanya is Swayam Bhagavan. Simply stated. It's a very elaborate discussion with many, many Shastri quotes. It's an example of great, very brilliant philosophical exposition there by Krishna Das Kaviraj. And there was one time one Sanskrit scholar in our movement. He's no longer with us. Sorry to say, and maybe part of the reason was that he became a little proud, as we see here. Those students of Lord Chaitanya, they also became overly proud of their own learning, and thought that took it upon themselves to chastise even their own teacher. So anyway, this devotee, he made this statement one time in a class that you have to understand that to say that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a very sectarian statement. Because he'd been studying, in the university and had been associated with mundane scholars, and he encountered this reaction that how the materialists, one thing is to say that Krishna is God. That is already something that may be disputed. But to say that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then why is it that this is so controversial? Well, we have to understand one thing, that whereas Krishna is quite remote, he's practically before historical time, 5,000 years ago. Historical time means this term indicates the time from which there are written accounts. We have actually authentic eyewitness accounts written down, so they feel in this way that we actually can say with some certainty that we know what happened. So Krishna is practically a prehistoric personality. Whether he did exist or did not exist, or whether he's just a fictional character, that one can always doubt. Many people, many scholars, they doubt this. There was some article by some Indian scholar. I just saw the headline some years back that I think he was making a statement that there is good possibility that there Krishna actually existed. They are speaking like this. And they can do this with Krishna because, as I say, it's so remote in time, it's so long time ago that there's no proof in terms of historical proof. But with Lord Chaitanya it's quite different. We cannot doubt that such a person as Nimai Pandit, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, that he actually walked on the planet. It's very close to us. It's only a little more than 500 years ago. He's a contemporary of many of luminaries, even in the Western world. This was a period, the Renaissance, which is many of the great personalities of European history, they were contemporaries of Lord Chaitanya, such as Leonardo da Vinci and many others. And there's so many eyewitness accounts of, we have the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but there are many other biographies about the life of Lord Chaitanya, and they can be cross-checked, and there's just nobody can doubt that Lord Chaitanya was a living person who walked among us, who was present here in Bharatvarsha around 500 years ago. And to say that he is Krishna himself, Swayam Bhagavan, descended into human society, it becomes very uncomfortable. It's very close. So therefore this is actually quite controversial. And something that we have to be prepared. It's something that will be disputed. It's interesting that even here in India, Lord Chaitanya, he is not nearly as well known as Krishna. The Vrindavan, Mathura Vrindavan, is a much more prominent place of pilgrimage than Sridham Mayapur, Navadvip Dham. Of course, on that side in Bengal, Orissa, everybody knows about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Vrindavan, Mathura is a much more famous place of pilgrimage. Although, if it was not for Lord Chaitanya and his followers, Vrindavan Dham would also not be so well known. It was the six Goswamis who established all the major temples. As Prabhupada put it, they excavated the holy places, the places of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. So it was Lord Chaitanya who made, and his followers who made Vrindavan so famous as it is today, which I think many people also, they don't know this. But this is characteristic of Krishna's devotees, that they don't put themselves in the center. They always focus on Krishna. They just like Srila Prabhupada, he is not widely known as the founder of this Hare Krishna movement. Hare Krishna, as he himself said, has become a household word all over the world. Largely due to, we can say, the Beatles, who the devotees befriended the Beatles in the late 60s, and they helped them to to release this Maha Mantra record, which became a hit all over the world on the pop music scene. So all the young people, they were chanting Hare Krishna in those days, and but it is not so well known that Srila Prabhupada was the one who started all of this. And if you compare this with other so-called new religious movements, we can see that they are always generally, almost without exception, they are centered around the leader of the movement. Everybody knows, that Vivekananda is the founder of the Ramakrishna mission. Everybody knows that Ushu, as he became known, started, his society, and so on. We have in other countries, we have the in South Korea, whatever he's called. So like that is almost without exception. But the Hare Krishna movement is not the Prabhupada movement, it's the Hare Krishna movement. It's not how we are known. And this is symptomatic that Srila Prabhupada also, just like Lord Chaitanya, he didn't put himself in the center, he put Krishna in the center. But still, Srila Prabhupada also, in a similar way as Lord Chaitanya here, he was well aware of the danger of that he had to also protect the people in general from disrespecting him. There were situations in Srila Prabhupada's life, his preaching activities, where he apparently acted in a proud and confident way, because he understood that he is, like he said once in America, at a reception in an airport, where one journalist he asked him, because his Prabhupada's disciples, they wanted him to give him the best of everything. So he would also often travel in very fancy cars, and they would arrange for a Cadillac or a Rolls Royce to pick him up at the airport. And one journalist, he asked, why are you driving in such a fancy car? And Prabhupada, he, in a very arrogant way, he answered, fancy car? I am Krishna's representative. I should have a golden car. So, apparently, what is this? Is this a humble devotee? So arrogant, so confident. No, but Prabhupada, the thing was that somebody who is actually humble in heart, he can sometimes act in an apparently arrogant way for the sake of the people, because Prabhupada wasn't concerned that, that I am such a great... No, but I am Krishna's representative, as he said to this journalist. Therefore, it's not good for him if he thinks like this, if he's so envious. He should understand that Krishna's representative, he is practically like Krishna himself. By respecting Krishna's representative, we are respecting Krishna. If we cannot even respect Krishna's representative, how will we learn? to actually have proper respect for Krishna himself. Of course, Lord Chaitanya, he is Krishna himself. So, but as I said, he played the role of a devotee, and therefore many people misunderstood him, and being influenced by the age of Kali, they disrespected him. But he tried to, at least, maybe not always successful, but at least this was a good attempt, I think we can say, to avoid this by taking sannyas. We have 9 is the deadline. Huh? So, anyway, we can take some questions if there's anybody.
Haribol. Mike.
Somebody over there?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Haribol.
I'm grateful for the very enlightening and thought-provoking lecture. It presented a lot of facets I hadn't thought of. My question is regarding the, Lord Chaitanya being a Channa avatar or a veiled incarnation. I'm just curious whether, although it is up to the sweet will of the Lord and He is the crest jewel of all incarnations, but would it have been easier for Lord Chaitanya to have directly revealed that He is Krishna Himself and things would have been different? It's slightly speculative, but just thought came to my mind. I wanted to clarify it with you.
Like I mentioned this, Srila Prabhupada explained us that the reason was that Lord Chaitanya foresaw, as we have seen that in this age, there are so many false incarnations, so many, like Prabhupada said, there's a Bhagavan on every street corner in India. So he didn't want to contribute to this misunderstanding. He wanted to show that as soon as somebody who claims to be Bhagavan, we should immediately become at least very suspicious. So therefore, that's one reason at least why he didn't openly manifest himself as Krishna. He really didn't want us. There are probably other reasons, but this is what Prabhupada explained us.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for wonderful lectures.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, one clarification wants that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is himself, Krishna himself. And he orders his followers that bhalana khaibo, bhalana paribo. Means don't eat nicely, don't wear very nice. And same times Prabhupada saw by his example that we should represent ourselves very nicely in the society for preaching purposes. So how we should balance both of these statements? How we can balance both things?
The thing is that in this age, people, they don't appreciate renunciation. They think if somebody is dressed in a niggardly way, in torn clothes. They will disrespect. It's a little along the same lines as we've been discussing. That a devotee, he's always wants to help people to understand Krishna, to show proper respect for superior personalities, Krishna and Krishna's representative. So whatever is necessary to help them understand, even by external means such as dressing properly. Prabhupada, he stuck to his sannyas, saffron, simple sannyas robes. It wasn't that he, start dressing like a king. Like there was at one period in one place that later was, for some time actually was outside of where they actually started this. But this is a speculation. Prabhupada, he stuck to his sannyas clothes. Sometimes he would, of course, have very effulgent silk dhoti because his disciples were supplying, and he accepted. But we have to be careful. It's a balance. I think that if we are not sure how to find the balance, it's better that we keep it more simple. Just like Srila Prabhupada, he accepted those very opulent seats that his disciples, they started making for him, beginning in Los Angeles, like a king's throne. And Prabhupada, it wasn't Prabhupada the idea didn't come from him. When he first time, there are photos when Prabhupada was sitting on that Vyasasan there, and he has an expression of great embarrassment. And he said himself that actually I don't feel fit to sit on such a seat, but I'm doing it on behalf of my Guru Maharaj. And he actually sat, and then it became like the standard. And then after Prabhupada, then that standard was taken up by his followers, who became became later known as the Sonal Acharyas. But they were not qualified. And we see that because by accepting such a high standard of worship, many of them, they got in trouble. And it was pointed out shortly after by Prabhupada's departure by Pradyumna, and he pointed out that you shouldn't sit on such a throne. This is not that's not the custom in our sampradaya, practically in any sampradaya. And because of this, he was kicked out of Iskcon. Later, many years later, the DBC gave him an excuse. So, but this is an example. It shows how we have to be very careful. If we are not very pure in heart, then better we take the humble position and at the risk of that people will not give proper respect. This is not good for them, but it's also not good for us if we take on external appearance, a way of dressing and so on, which we are not qualified for. This is very dangerous.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I want to ask you one question. The scriptures, somebody called Bhagavan and somebody called Mahaprabhu. Is this the same entity? The Bhagwan and Mahaprabhu. Shri Krishna.
Bhagavan and?
Mahaprabhu, Shri Krishna. Hare Krishna, Shri Chaitanya.
You have to hold the microphone.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, somebody calls, and Bhagwan. So is this the same entity actually? The Bhagwan and Shri Mahaprabhu.
Yes. That's actually, I explained that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. There is Krishna Das Kaviraj, as I explained, he proves with very elaborate explanation, proof he gives there in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that there is no difference. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Swayam Bhagavan. He's not even an avatar. He's the avatari. This is not very well known, but it will become more known. Especially, we are building a temple in Sridham Mayapur, which is the birthplace of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So it's quite inconceivable that the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, he descended on this planet only 500 years ago. It's hard to believe, but read Chaitanya Charitamrita. You cannot. It is very sound. The proof is very indisputable, actually. Why is it important to know? Because if we understand that, then we can understand that it is through Lord Chaitanya, it is his teachings actually that will give us the understanding of how to attain love of Godhead in this age. We need to have full faith in the instructions of Lord Chaitanya. Especially here in India, even within the Vaishnava society, there are so many sampradayas are there, and one may become a little confused. But if we understand that it is Lord Chaitanya who is actually the deliverer of the fallen souls in this age, then this will give us the one-pointed determination to take up this process of Nam Sankirtan as given by Lord Chaitanya. Okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji. One point is that Lord Chaitanya came to relish the Radha Bhav. This was internal reason of his incarnation. And he could not relish this Radha Bhav because the people are on the very lower platform. So he took sannyas. And when he took sannyas, and he was associated with those devotees who will encourage his emotions, and at the same time they will keep contact with general population also, and Lord Chaitanya will maintain his respect also. He will be respected also. So this was the main reason that he took sannyas, and he will relish the Radha Bhav, and also he will keep his respectable position also.
He could not really relish Radha Bhava as a grihastha, that's what you're saying. What was the reason for that?
Because in grihastha life, he will not be respected, because these people...
they will misunderstand him, as in this case here. Yeah, right. And that was the internal reason for his appearance. Yeah. Okay. We end here? Hare Krishna.
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की गौर हरि प्रभु की